Tom, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, mate, I'm really good. Thanks so much for taking the time this afternoon to speak with us.
Yeah. How's everything going?
Hey, mate, everything's going real good at the moment. Now, have you seen this lineup that you're being a part of as part, at Soundwave next year?
I haven't seen all of the bands. I've heard about a few. I don't know too much information, to be honest.
It's crazy. You know what? They keep delivering surprise after surprise. One that I'm pretty sure you'll be into, the Vandals. They're going to be playing.
Oh, are they down there?
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Offspring, Metallica, Linkin Park, you guys, Perfect Circle, Slayer, Anthrax, Stone Sour.
Wait, Perfect Circle?
Perfect Circle.
Perfect Circle's playing?
Yeah.
Are they back?
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's great to have you boys back in Australia together again.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's been quite a while for us. I had no idea that all these bands were playing. This is big news. This is going to be gigantic, it sounds like.
It is, man. It always is absolutely massive. Now, you were here already this year with Angels and Airwaves, which was great to see, but even better now that, you boys are charging hard. And I believe you've got some additional news that you're not only playing Soundwave, but doing some Sidewaves as well.
Yeah. We're going to be doing some of our own shows in addition to the Soundwave shows, and we're hoping to be able to go door to door and play for every single Australian possible. Literally, we're going to go to every single house possible.
Now, it's not your first time down here. You've obviously got, what I'd like to hope, good memories of our fair country. Do you have any standout, things that you always do when you're here?
Well, God, we've been going there forever. I just by default living in Southern California, it feels like Australia are neighbors of mine. The people are very, very similar to how Southern California, San Diego is. So, but all my great memories down there it was the very first place I ever started touring. So when I was 18 years old, that was like the very first place we would go because there was a lot of surfers down there, and all my friends were surfers, so they were putting my music in the surf videos. So we would go down there with various punk bands, and some of my fondest memories of just being in a band for the first time really were down in Australia. The first place I ever really surfed was in a place called Noosa Heads down there.
Oh, yeah.
And also in Avalon, and going down to Bondi Beach, and there was a big half pipe on the water down there. And I was like, oh, man, this place is incredible, And Sydney reminded me of San Diego, but obviously a much more beautiful giant harbor. And so I always felt like home down there. The people were always amazing and always treated us well. So Americans have loved Australians forever, so we've always felt a very strong kinship towards the country.
It's always good to hear stuff like that, man. Nearly, 20 years now you've been going as a band?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I know, 20 years, and we're the band of eternal youth. We're trying to hold that flag up. Oh, my God, this is it's insane. We're actually adults now.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. You know what I saw online? A story about Blink-182 have taken the piss out of One Direction without even knowing it. Way back in the day when you did your film clip when you were, being a boy band walking down the beach, and it's the same beach as used in a One Direction film clip.
Hey, we're magical. We're really, really good at making fun of people past, present, and future. That's what we do.
Man, that's awesome. So are you bringing the whole family down with you this time around?
That's the idea. We'll see what happens. The idea is to take the whole circus down there, but I don't know at this minute. We're still weighing it out because it's only a couple weeks long. Those types of trips sometimes are easier where it's just myself, but the plan is for the whole family to come down and we'll have a great time down there. Absolutely. And
how are you traveling health-wise? You're all good now because you had a bit of a scare last year?
Yeah, you guys have a lot of that down there as well. Imagine all the sun. I had a skin cancer flare up, scare. But yeah, everything's good. Got it cut out of me, and doing well. No issues there. Knock on wood. So, but yeah, it's weird when a little dot can kill you.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. So yeah, you learn when you're in your 20s, you feel indestructible. You feel like you don't have any failures, you don't have any successes, but you're indestructible. You have the whole world, at your fingertips. So when you get in your 30s, you start to realize, well, maybe I failed at a few things, and I better start zeroing in on what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And then you start losing a few people, and start to find out that you're pretty fragile.
Yeah, I know it only too well. Approaching 40 real fast, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I know it's trippy. It's trippy.
As they say, the 40 is the new 20s.
Yeah, hey, I always wanted to be like 40, but like 90 in bed. I thought it'd be great.
I like the sound of that as well. Now, do you think, if we can touch on this briefly, do you think that the split away from Blink has actually brought you back together stronger?
Yeah, I do, man. We were able to go apart and really, I mean, I know for me, I was able to really evolve musically and learn a hell of a lot about myself and as an artist, and have to kind of, I had to get out of the band to become, myself and known as myself, to realize, who I wanted to be as an artist, and then to bring that back to the band. I just have so much more to offer. I feel like an individual, and I feel like I have a wealth of knowledge and experience to bring back to the table. So, it's really exciting. And this last record we just made, I mean, we made that in separate studios, not even together. And so it's like this. We're getting ready to start a new record right now, and our band is getting along and doing better than we ever have in our whole career. So this record that we're getting ready to start right now will absolutely be the record of our career. It's like, there's no doubt about it. It's the best is getting ready to happen for Blink-182. And I'm not just saying that as a press blurb. I really mean what I say, and hopefully people will be excited to hear it.
Well, man, people were excited when Neighbourhoods dropped. We were stoked, and Up All Night had that massive, chunky, heavy riff at the start. We went, yes, this is what we like.
Well, yeah, Neighborhoods is a great record, and we literally were only together 3 days out of like a year recording that. I mean, you got to understand like what's going to happen now that our band is totally glued back together. It's like we did that without even trying, and that's why I get excited, because there's so much potential. I always felt like this band was popular. So much so because of the potential, not so much of what we've done, but what people feel we could do if we really applied ourselves and took ourselves more serious. And it's getting ready to happen the way I think all of our fans were hoping it to happen. And so I'm not discounting anything we've ever done, because I'm really proud of it all. But I'm the kind of guy that always challenges myself to be better. And I've always seen us three doing magical stuff, and I think we now have the foundation to do that, so it's exciting.
It's funny that your band has evolved, but it's still very much the same, which I enjoy, because, I mean, I was listening to Dude Ranch this morning, and I remember way back in the 90s when I first heard it, and I got to New Hope, not understanding what it was about, and then I picked up, they're singing about Princess Leia and dropping all these Star Wars. Who is this band, So, and it it was just, that album was just you guys having fun, just being kids, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we really were like that, and we were known for that, and we really had a lot of fun. It wasn't until our self-titled record where we really challenged ourselves to take ourselves seriously, and we kind of touched upon something that I think a lot of people got excited about. They're like, okay, now you guys aren't just having fun, you're almost becoming artists, and we're like, hold on a second, and then we broke up. So it's kind of like, wait a second, what are you guys doing? You just started to become a real, thing here, and so, I mean, the great thing about our band is once again, I think it's the potential, because we all have really great, I think we all have really great taste in music and bring such different things, Travis, there's no better drummer on earth, and he brings all these grooves and rhythms because he loves hip-hop but grew up on punk rock. Mark, his old grew up on punk rock, but he's way into indie rock. I grew up on punk rock, but I'm obsessed with stadium rock, and so it's, when you put it all together, if we do it correctly, there's really nothing we can't do. We've just chosen to play fast and have a lot of fun every once in a while, and I think that applying that to the future, it's going to be the best stuff we've ever done.
That is encouraging to hear. Now, I've got to ask the question: how is Travis getting here? Is he coming by boat, or is he somehow going to be on a plane?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, he's been working really hard to come on a plane, and everyone's really excited about it. It's something he's been looking forward to conquering in his life, and that's the goal. So we're very much in support of him, and I'm excited to see those steps taken. I know it's something that he's wanted to do for a long time.
Good on him, man. I can't. I mean, no one can put themselves in what he's been through, and for him to actually say, you know what, I'm going to beat this, and I'm going to get back on a plane. That's just credit to him, man.
Yeah, it's a big deal. People don't realize what he's been through. I mean, no No one knows really, and there's no way to understand like that. It's kind of one of those things where you try to understand people that have come back from war, but you never know unless you've been there. It's
absolutely.
like it's that heavy, and everyone, there's nobody living from that tragedy except for Travis. So it's a miracle.
It is a miracle, and like you said, this is going to be a hell of a triumph. Now, before I let you go, you and I have a common fascination, which I've only just found out about: UFOs.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to know?
Oh, man. I watched that on your Tumblr blog. It's a 12-minute video, and you've just put a montage together of all the freaky stuff that's happening over the skies. That one over China, that was really weird. The one in Jerusalem, I think it was last year. I remember seeing that on the news. That just blew me away.
That one's pretty. That's actually probably my favorite footage of a UFO of all time. I mean, some of the really, really great ones get a little suspect, but that one in Jerusalem is pretty fantastic. And for the people listening, it's this light hovering over one of the temples in Jerusalem, and just darts downward, creates a flash of light like lightning, and then zips up to the atmosphere. And it's like it's unreal, and that definitely gets people thinking.
The other one that I hadn't seen was the swirls. And I think it came over Australia and Russia, and
those there's a few different options of what those can be. Some people think that some of the theories are scalar weaponry or electromagnetic waves that are used as the defense missile shields from the United States and the Western countries that in the cold weather can create a vortex within certain conditions, because the first swirl and for the people listening, again, there are these giant, like perfectly symmetrical spinning black holes that are giant, like out of the sky, and it looks like a wormhole opening up, and it's amazing. But people when you study it and research it, what happened was it was the eve of President Obama receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. So over there in Scandinavia, Obama was getting ready to come over the very next day to get this Peace Prize, and Russia was showing a show of force by testing their largest intercontinental ballistic missile. And they were doing this big test. Next thing you know, this wormhole shows up, and their missile spirals out of control, and no one knows what happened. And Russia comes out, and they had to come up with some excuse of why their big show of force with their technology went bad. And then so it's like two countries playing these gigantic games with each other on the eve of a global a war for peace. It's a pretty interesting thing, but you never know. I mean, but this spiral showed up in like 3 different places on the globe, so it's not just in Scandinavia. So it makes you wonder what technology this might be or what.
And one of the freakiest phone calls I heard was, I'm not sure if it was on your side or on YouTube, the guy who rings, he says he was working at Area 51. Have you heard that phone call? It was a talkback station.
Yeah, so the story on that is, and the reason, for people wondering why I know all this stuff, obviously, I've been studying this stuff for years. That's just what I do, and I have a site called strangetimes.com where we routinely report on this type of stuff. But the Area 51 employee is a really interesting story, because Art Bell, who was the radio host of one of the second largest or third largest radio show in the United States. It's on all night long. It's syndicated across the country. It's massive. It's usually all paranormal fringe topics, a lot of UFO stuff. This guy calls in screaming and crying that the government is after him. He's an Area 51 employee, that they know something bad is coming, that has something to do with UFOs, and they're not telling everybody we're all going to die, kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden the satellite uplink code goes out. The whole system that's syndicating this radio show across the country goes completely black. And all of a sudden it comes back on, and Art Bell, the DJ, or the radio host, is freaking out, because this has never happened in the history of radio, right? But what you come to find out is 2 weeks later, this guy calls back up. And this isn't really widely reported. 2 weeks later, this guy calls back up and says, "Hey, I was the guy that called that night. I was like faking it." But the scary thing is someone pulled the plug on the satellite. I was listening. So someone was seemed as though that they were monitoring this, and even though this guy was lying, they just didn't want this kind of a story going out over the airwaves. So why? Is it too close to the truth or what?
Yeah.
But I tend to believe there's a lot of theatrics with Art Bell. He had a Penthouse writer in that evening doing a big article on him, and so I always put it always a little suspect. But Art Bell, he was amazing at that time. It was. It was scary. I would listen to it all, and I still do. Every single night I listen to that show. There's a new host now, but I've done it for 20 years now.
Fantastic, man. We're going to have to talk more about this when you come down for Soundwave. We'll be able to talk UFOs for hours on end. Now,
I know, right? We're supposed to talk about Blink-182. I'm an interesting guy, everybody. Everybody in Australia. I'm super interesting and handsome. I'm great in bed. I'm, like, awesome.
He just happens to be a bit of a nerd when it comes to UFOs.
Maybe so. I'm just interested in the giant world around me. I just got to be something better than just paying bills every month and like going and having. Well, I can't say I have a normal job, so never mind. I'm not complaining about that.
Right, okay.
I just think there's something more interesting out there. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.